Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the UR Pod Usage Rate. I'm Jamie. I am the coach of the Cashews.
And I'm Baz, and I'm coach of the Clint Stein Daddies. That's my team name.
One of the great
Sounds
names.
better when you say it out loud.
It's not bad,
when
is
it? When it's a few 3-pointers, it might get yelled out this weekend up at the Silverdome.
Oh, yes. I did actually forget about that till yesterday. Firstly, better give a quick shout out to our man Gibber, some of the best hot sauce kicking around in the country. If you haven't got your hands on some yet, have a look at Gibber's Hot Sauce on Instagram. Jump onto the store, UR15, the code for a 15% discount. As I said, some of the best hot sauce kicking around, so get a hold of some of that.
Don't think about last time we mentioned sauce on this episode, I don't reckon.
No, I reckon they're related. We might start off with a bit of a game by game, mate. So the first game of the round, some might say it was a bit of an upset, but I did tip Adelaide, believe it or not. No, I didn't. But Adelaide got the win 97-85 over New Zealand. Do you happen to catch that one?
Yeah, I watched... I think I watched the fourth quarter, which is where they kind of got on a bit of a run. But yeah, just tuned in for the back end of it. I did tip New Zealand. I didn't tip the Breakers. The 36ers. I thought they were going to be pretty horrendous for a fair while, but Vasiljevic has really turned them around. They look so totally different out there. They got a bit of swagger. They don't look mopey. Yeah. They look up and about, and I can't believe how much he's changed it in just a handful of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one is Isaac Humphries. I think they're really looking to go through him. His 3-game average is off the charts, but they've got a pretty ordinary Supercoach schedule to come. But
even Justin Wiley in that game, he would have had a really nice game if he just remembered to pass the ball to his own team for a little bit.
8 turnovers.
8 turnovers.
That's insane, isn't it? I didn't realise that until I looked at the box score just then.
Yeah, you probably thought it was his eight rebounds he got, but no, it was his 8 turnovers past the other team.
He's almost had a triple-double.
Yeah, I know. Would he have got the value? Wonder what the scores happened there.
Mitch McCarron stinking it up as we predicted. DJ Vasiljevic, as you said, has changed the outlook of that team. Your man, Sunday Detch, did you keep him or did you get rid of him?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a good idea if people start trading in the blokes that I trade out each week, because I seem to trade them out and then they seem to find a bit of form. And yeah, even though he played on Thursday and not Sunday, he played really well. And it infuriated me every time he got a bucket, every time he got a rebound. I was like, mate, you could have done this last week when I had you. Instead, you stunk. So
yeah, and the people that jumped on Flowers would be disappointed after. They jumped at Shadows after he played well for 1 quarter of the season.
I don't understand how he didn't even get... He was a DMP in one of those as well after that game as well, which baffled me a little bit.
Too deep in the guards.
I actually thought about bringing in Will McDowell-White as kind of that other person to go with Parker Jackson, because I thought McDowell-White, you can get the assists and get the points and might get a double-double or triple-double every now and again, but he hasn't been shooting the ball very well at all. He's been looking to really distribute.
Yeah, so he shot 1 from 11 in that game. He looked pretty good in the other game that they played, but we'll get to that. PJC started pretty ordinarily, and the big one was the cheetah. Did you trade him in?
No, I didn't trade him in. I did look at him though.
Yeah.
After putting a bit of heat on him earlier, a bit of Gibber's hot sauce on him. But I think that America trip, he come back totally different. I reckon if you watch those first 2 games and the last 2 games, or before he got injured, there was a massive difference in how he was playing.
We will just go back to one of your big calls that he wouldn't last the season. You're on the money.
Yeah, I don't know if it counts though.
It definitely doesn't count, but take we can get, I reckon.
Yeah, that's all right.
So we might talk a little bit later on about someone that could steal some of his minutes in Finn Delaney. But it was nice to actually dodge a bullet for once. The other game that night, Illawarra, Cairns. Illawarra got the win by a point. Justin Robinson's doing what I thought he was going to do. He just happened to be really bad the week that I had him.
The curse.
Yeah,
That was the
it was a
captain's
curse there
wasn't
for
it?
a couple of weeks, wasn't it? Yeah, but I've
Yeah.
gone to work on a new formula of captain for me captains over the last week, so I'm gonna give some captain info out later on in the episode. A bit early on it this week.
Yeah, Sammy Froling pumping out the double, which is probably it makes him a really desirable option, I think. And certainly if you can't afford Big Sauce or Froling plays 2 games, he's probably definitely a good pick to have. And he's forward centre as well.
Yeah.
But,
do you know when their next 2 games is?
Nah, because you're all over that. You just tell me.
Round 12.
Listen. Yeah, okay. No, scrap that. It's a long way away.
You won't be getting any Hawks, will you?
No, you won't.
So Tyler Harvey obviously the go ahead very late in that game, which was nice. They've shortened their rotation, which I think has held them in a lot better stead. Cairns were the big one that a lot of people wanted to have a bit closer of a look at. So you bought in a Taipan?
Yeah, I bought in Miller. I bought in the bloke that's got, as the commentators say, he's got biceps on biceps. I bought him in, and
he's got quads on his arms.
He does actually. Yeah, so I bought him in, and he was fantastic in the first game with a score of 45, and even in his next game, up until half time, he was still looking at a pretty good score. So I was pretty happy with that pick. Just to really watch his space and see what happens this week. See if he gets up. If he gets up, he's definitely staying in.
Yeah, my word is, and we'll drop a little bit of a bomb here. My word is that he's missing this week. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's going to suck for people that bought in him and Chatham and have already used a couple of boosts. Good for me, not having either of them.
Dodged the bullets, mate. You dodged them.
Dodged the Brisbanes. My reason for not bringing him in was around that Taron Armstrong and then Tajir McCall obviously coming back next week. One thing I've learned pretty early on is that I can't be getting guys that I only see 1 week in, potentially 2 weeks. So I know Cairns' schedule's pretty good, but he played 36 minutes the other night, which was by far the most on that team, played 8 minutes more than anyone else. And I know some of those bench minutes would go to Armstrong and McCall, but the ball's going to be out of Miller's hands a lot more. I can't see him averaging over 25 when those guys come back. So it was a bit of a long-term play. I did get stuck. I got stuck with Galloway for this week because I really wanted to get off Henshaw. So my new things around not getting stuck with people. That's why I didn't go him.
Yeah. And I've got stuck with a lot of blokes. And
yeah. We got to try and get on top of that, don't we? We'll fall behind pretty quickly.
The other one was
bring in any other type ends?
Yeah, I bought in Klitman as well. Obviously, he had a bit of a rough game 1, but I guess the positive thing was that he rebounded well. He didn't shoot too great, 1 of 6, but he still rebounded well, which is probably pleasing for me to see. And it was kind of like that round 1 all over again, where 1 bad game, 1 good game sort of set up. So yeah, he obviously not great in the first game, but you get a second go at it. So he was good in the second, which was handy.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on with my team this week. I was that pissed off at him. He was my brick boy from the get-go. Had him, played a lesser role than what I anticipated, got rid of him, then dominated, went up an absolute stack, and then got him back. And I thought, if this is what he's doing, this bloke, I've had enough of him.
That'd go for.
Yeah, I bought in the burger, big Wardenberg. Didn't shoot very well in the first game. Only went 5 for 14, went 1 for 8 from 3. So probably expecting to hit a couple more of those. But still got to a score of 28, which I was pretty happy with. And my reasoning for bringing him in was around the flexibility of the forward centre, especially knowing that I was more than likely going to get off Huck Porty this week. So I can slip Wardenberg straight into the centre, and that gives me a little bit more flexibility in terms of who I can bring in this week.
Yeah.
So I liked what
Smart.
he did.
You did mention that in the first week as well. You said that the very first episode, you said you wanted to target blokes with that flexibility to make and manage things a little bit easier. I think that's probably where I got a little bit stuck at the moment. So I've got 3 really good guards. I've got Cummings. I've got Miller, and I've got PJC. And there's no flexibility in that. Like if I can't rotate one onto the court as a forward to kind of, if they've got the double, if they're all 3 have the double, I just got to hope for the best. So I'm having a bit of a rough time with the other super coach at the moment. I don't know if you noticed.
But you're only 30 odd points behind me.
I can see a massive cliff coming.
We'll go on to the next game, the Friday game. So we had Tassie and Melbourne. Melbourne got the win 90-82 down in the Nest, which a lot of people say it's hard to win down there, but our win percentage before this season was 53% at the Nest. So it's not as probably as hard a place to win as what people think down in the, what do we call it?
The Jackie's Disco or Jackie's Nightclub.
Jackie's Nightclub.
Jackie's Nightclub.
Some of Andrew Bogan's best. I'm going to go with that. I hope the Silverdome turns into the Jackie's Nightclub on, what is that? Saturday night, isn't it?
Saturday night. I reckon we can come up with another name for it, maybe up north. We'll change the name of it. Jackie's Nightclub. They'll have the tunes pumping, though.
Bloody hell,
they will have the tunes pumping.
I hope so. So, someone that we haven't spoken a hell of a lot about, and probably still continues to sneak under the radar, Jack McVeigh. We thought he was probably just going to get points from scoring, but he's been doing a bit of work all over the place.
Yeah, well, I kind of said to you that he doesn't turn the ball over a great deal, because if he's going to get it in 2 places, he either gets it from the 3 and doesn't really turn it over there, or he catches it in that low block and he does those fadeaways, which I think is added to his game. And if there's no real reason why Jack McVeigh can't average, probably most games you'll get 15 to 20 points, you'll get a handful of boards, chuck in an assist and maybe a block, and he's going to probably get you around that 30 to 35 mark. He was your big call a few weeks ago. I think you nailed it. And I think it's
the
really
second highest score on the weekend.
Yeah,
I was a week early on it.
I think is the key. You were.
It's like most things. I'll just go too early on it. Interesting that you say that. Last year he averaged, I'll round up for the sake of easy numbers. Last year he averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a turnover. No blocks, 0.3 blocks. This year he's averaging 17 points, so 2 more, 6 rebounds, 1 more, 2 assists, which is half more, half a steal, half a block, and a turnover. So his numbers have gone up slightly. He's playing an extra 3.5 minutes a night at this stage. But he's pretty bang on. Milton Doyle, what are your thoughts on that?
Not too bad. I think a lot of people expected a lot more from him. That Melbourne put so much more attention into him. If you kind of watch that game, it was we're going to stop Doyle and see what the other blokes can do. And I think Doyle still does his stuff, but not to the level that we kind of had come to expect after the first few rounds. But yeah, they really shut him down. But I think by having Jordan Crawford there, it kind of is if one of them has a bit of a down game, the other one can pick up the pieces a little bit. But I'll tell you who frustrates me. Marcus Lee.
Oh, doesn't he ever?
Can someone tell him that a category in Supercoach is not fouls? Because if it was fouls, he'd be the highest scorer every single week. I reckon he's had the maximum amount of fouls you can get in the number of games that Jack
Believe it or not, he only had 3 in this game against Melbourne.
Yes, because he didn't get on the court because he got 3 fouls in the first minute.
Yeah, him and Lockie Albrecht.
He's so good. He's so good for the team. He just picks up, I don't know if half of them are fouls, or half of them aren't, but yeah, it just sucks that he always seems to be in foul trouble. Always.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you still have Doyle?
I traded him out.
Hmm.
It was probably a bad trade. I probably should have kept him, but judging by how he's gone the
Yeah.
last
I
two
think you got off
rounds,
him
it's
at the
probably
perfect
actually worked out
time.
well. Yeah, I like him though.
Oh yeah, we love him, but teams have gone to work on him. He peaked too early, the big fella.
Yeah.
The
Thoughts
Melbourne
on
for
Majuk
the
Deng?
Melbourne. Hey,
Thoughts on Majuk Deng?
yeah, he's made a little bit of cash, hasn't he? Yeah, his minutes will start to drop, I reckon. His defensive impact the last couple of games, although he's scored some points, has not been great. He was a -6
Well,
in that Melbourne game in 14 minutes, and the Brisbane game, I dare say, he would have been a minus as well. He scored a hell of a lot of points in the first half. Um, so
well,
yeah, in the Brisbane game, he was a -18. The next worst was a -9, and then the next worst was a -1.
uh,
So
well,
he lost
well, I
us
guess
that.
Magnay's coming back in.
Mm.
What are we projected? He's back
Oh,
training.
mate, he's been unknown injury status for the last 3 years. Apart from when we played the Breakers at my state, and old mate threw the clapper on the court, and Barry Brown was waving the crowd off, and Isaiah Arthur looked like he could have killed someone, and Scott Roth teed off at the crowd. It's the only good game Magnay's played for us, I reckon. On the Melbourne front, we know that some people bought in the Illies, the Clarks, the Goldings. Illy scored 18. Clark was pretty good in that game, 21, and Golding
Yeah,
stuck it up and scored 8. The Jackies really made him work, didn't they?
yeah, they did. It was interesting. It kind of come across it. How we said that Melbourne's plan was shut down door. Come
Mm,
across that Taz's plan was not let Goulding get off the chain.
yeah.
Which I think you saw later in the weekend where Goulding got off the chain and it was a walking bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. And Luke Travers was elite in that game, got the double-double as well, which helped him tremendously. The other one that was big, JLA. Knocked a 34 out in a double-double in 23
Yeah,
minutes, if you don't mind.
he looked pretty good, didn't he?
Mm.
He just looked like a massive presence out there,
Yeah.
demanded the ball, sprayed some blokes
You know
on his
who's going
team,
up
and
against, though, don't you?
not Marcus Lee because he was on the bench.
Nah. Fab, Majuk Deng, Jared Bairstow. If he doesn't dominate against those three, no disrespect to those guys, because I like all of them, except for maybe Majuk. He's got to buy in a little bit more to our principles. But if JLA is not eating those blokes up, there's something wrong. Huck Porty?
Not bad. We're hanging on by a thread, aren't we? With him, we're hoping he can squeeze out a double and get something of a respectable score. I think
Yeah.
that's probably really where we're at the moment.
Yeah. He
I
just fell
guess
short of that in
yeah,
both
an 8 and a
games.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he gets them, he holds on to a little bit of value. But
He goes up to
if ever there's
22
a
points.
time to, yeah, if ever there's time to jump shit,
Yeah.
I think you jump it off this week. I think he'll
Yeah.
end up probably being the most traded out player this week.
Oh,
I dare
definitely.
say.
Definitely. We'll have a quick look. Where are we? Yeah, he just missed the double in both games, which hurts. Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
He is the most traded out by 19% of all coaches, by 33% of the top 5%, and by 36% of the top 1%. That surprises me.
Yeah, I thought it'd be higher.
Yeah, considering how highly owned he is, because he is very highly owned. Anyway, I'm sure those numbers will increase later on in the week. Let's move on to the next game, Perth and Brisbane. Brisbane won that one by 5 over in the jungle. Bryce Cotton, a pretty ordinary game, but a pretty good Supercoach game.
Yeah, as I said before, his game really leans well to the Supercoach. It is kind of pleasing when a player has a bad game and gets a good score.
Yeah.
So if he can put it all together, he's going to get a massive score, and he's going to show why he was worth 466,000. He's nearly dropped 100K.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So all those kind of top guys really did lose money. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he can get back to his best. The only one that really didn't lose much money was Jalen Adams. But yeah, I'm really intrigued by Bryce Cotton. I just wonder something's going to happen in Perth. A few rough losses in a row. They're not where I expected them to be, and yeah, I think there might be some rumblings out that way. There might be some changes happen. Don't know.
Yeah, they've got to do something, don't they? Play Samoa, hopefully, before I trade him out. But Cotton had 31 Supercoach and he shot 3 for 19. So if he eats even another 4 of those and goes 7 for 19, you're looking at a pretty handy score, aren't you?
Yeah, but I think at the moment, if you got Parker Jackson Cartwright, then who's your other guard going to be? Are you going to be getting in Bryce Cotton? Be that second guard?
Probably not. I mean, round 7, all teams play singles. So in the next 3 rounds, he's got maximum games, but then he goes single, single, single after that. So, depending on what the rest of your lineup's looking like. I mean, I know the guards are probably the most heavy spot, so there's probably some better options there. Maybe, but I would not blame people for getting him in now. He's bottomed out, you would think. Anyone else from Perth that you're interested in? I know you don't mind Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah, I don't mind Dr. Doolittle. I hope he does a little bit more. But the reason I was intrigued by Doolittle is that he's bottoming out in price, I feel. And he's probably maybe one more game. He could drop down to 159K, which is what they're projecting. But if he drops again and he's around that 165, he pumped out 22 this week. If he ends up getting that low price and can pump out scores of 20 on your bench, I'm probably pretty happy with that. And he might find a bit of value in going back up again because he got 11 boards. And he's playing 30 minutes. So for a bloke that's going to be priced around 150K, if you're playing 30 minutes and getting scores of 20, you're probably actually a pretty decent pick. So he's one that, I'm just keeping an eye on.
So he's dropped 105K. That's extraordinary, really, isn't it?
Well, he got the -1 because he got injured in that game and barely played him. So that's why he's got the massive drop off. Which he's 171 at the moment. And if he goes down a little bit more, he might be on my team.
Yeah. Would be an option if you got a trade to burn, potentially. I don't think I'll be able to get to him, but I don't mind your strategy around that. Especially, I think Jordan Usher's minutes are going to drop a little bit. He's by a long way got the worst plus-minus in the competition. So I think that you probably can't trust him as much as Doolittle.
How on earth did he put up 35 in the Jackies in round 1?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I actually don't know.
He scored 4.
Yeah, he's averaging 15.6.
He got them all in one game too.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So what's that? He scored 105 points approximately in his 7 games, and he got 35 on us. So that means in his other 6 games he's scored about 70 points. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy. That is.
Usher. Henshaw, Ben Shaw.
Oh, something's got to change. Get him back on. He can shoot it.
Yeah. No, leave him out. Leave him out. I got off him last week, and I'm that happy about it. So it means that I can actually start to. I might only get 4 points out of someone in that position, but it's 4 more than I was getting. That might have saved me from dropping a few spots. Yeah, bloody hell. Brisbane, with Shannon Scott out, a lot of people jumped on Mitch Norton, and I know quite a few people used a boost to get him. Scored 16 in that game.
It wasn't horrible. Like, the price we paid for him, I was just happy to get. I think I went bench or up to him, so
yeah,
I was happy with anything that was in double digits personally. So it's currently where I'm at. I think I think the one that we missed the boat on was Bannon, though. I think he either had to look at him and hope that he had one bad game and read into that preseason form and a bit of the stuff around him, go with the no Aaron Baines factor.
Yeah,
because they had a great week, and yeah, you could have saved yourself a fair bit of cash by getting him in last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he went up nearly 50 or so, didn't he?
Yeah, nearly. Yeah, 44K.
And as said, started in the preseason. There was a lot of hype around him during the preseason as well. And you would think that a lot of Baines's minutes, he'll take all of Rocco's minutes. And then you probably think he picks up a couple of minutes here and there from other people, but you probably don't see Bannon dipping under the 25 mark.
Nah, definitely not. And especially the way he played. I watched the game they played on Sunday against the Jackies, and he looked right at him. He took the last shot for the Bullets. So
yeah,
they've just got a bit of faith in him. So yeah, I reckon he's pretty safe pick for that 113K bench player.
The other one that people would be pretty happy with if they've held on to him from the weekend's form, Sam McDaniel. He seems to be someone that Justin Schuller trusts a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I listened to the broadcast on it was a Jackies game, and they mentioned that they're getting guys in that have championship history. They've tried to get coaches that know how to win and get guys that know how to win and have won in the past. And I think that was kind of a bit reflected in that. Yeah, Sammy McDaniel is probably someone you can trust. Yeah. He's not going to be your focal point of your offense, but he can play some good defense and do those little fadeaways, and he's pretty happy, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. We only took 5 shots for the game, got to a score of 23, so that was pretty good. Tyrell Harrison, I really like his game, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do with Baines coming back. He got to 21 from 14 minutes. So you'd think that he probably sticks around that 20-point mark, which you probably don't mind if he's on your pawn.
Yeah, he's Dairy's boy. Dairy loves him. Dairy, yeah. He got Dairy in the top 100.
Yes. Yep, he did. Saucy. Supercoach, I feel like really suits his game. He can put up as many shots as he wants, that guy.
He can, and he can hit him. Yep. My gosh, he can hit him. He doesn't get a lot of assists for a guard. It's probably the only downfall, but he gets a handful of rebounds, and as you said, he puts up bulk shots. And he's always going to put up bulk shots, even with Bainesy coming back.
Yeah.
It's Sobe's team.
Yeah, definitely. I know the last couple of years they put the ball in his hand a little bit more, and he played a bit more of a combo guard, if you like. And they weren't overly successful. When he was in MVP contention, he played a legitimate 2 guard, and he's gone back to that this year. So his assist numbers have dropped a little bit, but they're a better team for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably it for Brisbane. Southeastern New Zealand. We've obviously talked about New Zealand already. That was a bloody good game for Supercoach. That one, PJC got us all out of the shit by scoring 51. Finn Delaney got to 28. Can we see more of that?
It's a real tough one, I guess, with Cheatham out. He definitely can. He's a real awkward price, though.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned that he's not cheap enough to kind of warrant I don't know. He's just an awkward price at $2.19. He is going to play, and he is a good player. He's going to score. He's going to get you probably 20 to 30 range. Depends on what other categories he can get. If he can get some steals and blocks, he can definitely definitely put up a nice score. I don't see him scoring 21 every game, but I can see him definitely getting a fair few more rebounds. But yeah, he looked nice. He was good. He plays a
Yeah.
bit of they went small ball and
Yeah.
had him playing centre, which was interesting.
Mm.
So worked for him
Yeah. Well,
because they stormed home.
bloody hell, they
I
did.
bet on Alan Williams 12 plus boards, Southeast Melbourne to win, and I thought I was home,
Yeah.
and then New Zealand just stormed back in that last quarter.
Yeah. You were sweating bullets. Brisbane's.
I was, yeah, Brisbane's.
Yeah, PJC, everyone sort of took that advice last week and did whatever they could to jump on. I was a little bit worried Derry wasn't going to get him, so I was really glad that he did. McDowell White got to 21. Southeast Melbourne, they had some huge scores. Cummings was lighting it up in the first half, had 22 points at halftime and didn't score again.
Yeah, he's such a tough one. I think the Gary Brown factor really limits him a lot more because Gary Brown demands the ball and wants the ball in his hands, and I think that's Will Cummings' strengths as well. And kind of seems they're leaning more towards Gary Brown.
Cummings
Will
played a little bit more with the
unfortunately.
second unit in the first half, and then back with the first unit in the second half, which probably did hurt his score, didn't it? Mitch Creek was back. It was nice to see.
Mitch Creek was back.
People that held him, I tried him
after
out.
we all traded him.
It's always the way, isn't it?
It is. It is. But tell you who else came back to earth though, Matty Kenyon. After some people may or may not have traded him in, but he probably had a nice break even, but probably showed what we thought he'd do for the season.
Yeah, just
and
comes
your boy
back to
Reece
that thing, I
Bay.
reckon. Yeah. What a spud. But he put up a donut. I reckon it just comes back to that thing of, Matt Kenyon, his break even was good. His potential to earn cash was pretty good for the weekend, but he's not someone you want to get stuck with.
Yeah.
So you probably just avoid it.
And then I think
you go.
I think that's the trap I got caught in a little bit was a player who played 2 really good games, had a nice break even. I thought, Sweden, we're going to jump on this, and then they score a 5 when the break even's 3, and then you don't get anywhere. You're stuck in the mud.
Yeah, and that's what I did with Valentine and Baines, and even Robinson, I guess. Probably should have. I've got to be a little bit smarter about that stuff. Now the big one, your man, Saucy Sauce.
Big Sauce. Big Sauce. He just loves playing basketball, doesn't he? Two things he loves. Rebounds, doubles.
And riding scooters.
Right. You reckon he rides scooters?
He rides them to the game. Every game. He rides those scooters.
Be tough to get a helmet on that head, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's big Ed.
Big Ed.
People will do whatever they can to get him this week, won't they?
Oh, you have to. I boosted a traded out blokes, traded out Sar, traded out everyone to get him. Interesting that at that fourth centre position, that the top scorer was Sam Froling for centre at 68, played 2 games. The next highest score was Sam Wardenberg with 60, JLA 58. Then Alan Williams was next on 46. So he played 1 game and he was the 4th highest scoring centre. So for me, who is not the best at doing trades at the moment, whose team's a little bit all over the place, I thought to myself, if I can lock down Big Sauce and I can just plug him in that centre hole, I don't have to worry about him. I don't have to worry about Parker Jackson Cartwright. I can leave them for an extended period of time. So that was my thinking. Whether it shoots me in the foot with the bench stuff and all that, I'll find out later. But if he plays 2 games next week and he gets 100 and I put the big C on him, big C on the Big Sauce, then you can look at 200. And for some people to get 200 from one player,
it's enormous.
would nearly enormous considering I've had 100 from captains, I've had 110 from captains. Yeah, geez. So that's why I'm getting him in. And I think that reasoning there alone, it just shows you all that rubbish with mucking around with the centres, I think.
Yep. Yep, don't mind it. And the interesting thing, I reckon, you look at their schedule, they got 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and then a 1. Now, the interesting thing, round 7, everyone's got 1. Then round 10 and round 13, only 2 teams have got a double. So I'm going to say having someone like Sauce in your centre spot for those couple of rounds, it's probably not going to be really a disadvantage because a lot of people are going to have 1, maybe 2 players on singles there, depending on their planning.
Who are the 2 teams that play the double in that?
So
that
round 10, it's Cairns and Sydney, and round 13, it's Cairns and Adelaide. So unless you're loading up on Cairns players, but then you've also got to get off them at some point. So it only gives you a couple of rounds to turn that around.
So I guess then you're looking at what centres from those teams are you going to get. So it's essentially
Wardenberg,
your man at Wiley.
Yeah.
But then again, you're only getting them in for that 1 round, whereas you're getting Sauce for 7. So
yeah.
Yep.
So
it's an interesting one because it's an easy conversation to justify having him, and it seems like a no-brainer to get him in with all that. But there might be those coaches that still look at it and go, he's just too expensive. I just can't justify it. But hopefully those reasons there give you enough justification to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Well, if you can get him, you get him, I reckon. If you've used only 1 boost so far, feel free to pull it. We'll just quickly go on to one more game, which is Sydney, and then the other teams we've already talked about. So they played Cairns, lost by 7. We've obviously spoken about the Cairns guys already. Bobby Clinton bounced back. Patrick Miller got the injury. Sydney guys, Jalen Galloway was out. DJ Hogue back in. Scored well, 30.
He did. It was an interesting one. Adam Ford was absolutely giving it to him.
Was he?
Was definitely out of. Yeah, he had a few words with him, and the commentators. It's just a bit of friendly banter. I think he had a few choice words for him. I don't think they could play on the commentary.
Yes.
The interesting
stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, the interesting one from this was people that had the Alex Tui pick. He was obviously running hot there for a little bit. He came back to earth with the 7, so that'll be interesting. Jalen Adams, he pumped down a 30 for what really wasn't a great game from him, judging by watching the game. He got a few buckets late, but the 8 boards was pretty good for a guard. 2 steals and a block, so he definitely stuffed the stat sheet, but what wasn't a great game to the eye.
Yeah, well, I missed that one, but there was a game earlier in the year, the one that they played down at the Nest where he rocked out of 31 and looked pretty ordinary. So for him to be able to knock 30s out and not look elite, it's pretty good signs, I'd say.
It is, and that's why he's one of those guys that actually hasn't gone one of those top blokes that's maintained his price.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent, isn't he? All right.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Jonah Bolden? What are your thoughts on him? Or is he a potential someone I can get in, or what do you reckon?
No, I reckon that
perfect.
I reckon that ship sailed. What did he even score? I haven't even looked at him. He scored 17.
He scored
17 in 19 minutes. But I think with their schedule, they've got the double this week. But you're probably realistically, you're probably looking at over the next 3 rounds, the teams that are playing maximum games. So your New Zealand, your Cairns, Brisbane have got 1 less than that. Perth have got 1 less than that. Perth have got maximum games over the next 3. But if we talk next 4, and then Sydney play 5 games as compared to New Zealand, Cairns 7, Brisbane, Perth 6. So I think there's a bit to do in front of a Jonah Bolden trade-in.
Yeah. That's all good, mate. We're getting Sauce.
I don't think I can quite get to him. But, so there's our game by game. What did you score for the week, and what did it do to your rank?
357, which I didn't think it was too bad. I had some not good scores across the board. I kept Galloway, so I couldn't really trade him. I had to go with Ben Chill first.
Yeah.
I have Adelaide's Galloway, and he's been stinking it up lately, but he's just going to sit there for the time being. There's no point trading him unless he can make some coin.
Yeah.
Sar was pretty average. But my guards are pretty good. So, I scored 357, which actually dropped me down 200 places. Not too bad. How about yourself?
I went a 372, which I wasn't too displeased with getting, given that I got off Benchall. So that dropped me 48 spots. It's not too bad. So essentially stayed the same. I was pretty happy with that, considering I didn't have Miller or Cheatham either, so I don't have to worry about fixing that up this week. So I think that allows me to probably get a trade ahead, or I'm saving the boost that other people might have to use to get off that. So not too displeased. Sitting okay. I'm at 762 overall, which I'm not too happy about, but I'm not that far from the top 100, really, points wise.
We're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all those 50-50 calls. And you're either on the right side of those 50-50s or you're too late and then you stuff them up. I think you're starting to see that the top teams on the rankings are starting to get their benches with players that are scoring. So I think that's probably got to be the goal for some people over the next few weeks, is to get those players that are going to get you 20, 30 on the bench. I know it sucks. You want them on the field as well. But, I reckon it's time to start building your benches.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's a bloody hard game.
Especially
given the fact that we've got round 8 and 9, we've only got 4 teams with the double. So you're going to be working pretty hard to even get your court kicking there, unless you're loading up on those Cairns and New Zealand guys.
Yeah, I looked to do a massive downgrade trade. I was like, I'll trade out Hook Porty. I'll trade him down to a bloke that I'll just sit on my bench for like 70, 80K.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing apart from Lockie Albrick's the only one I could justify having a spot for. It was ridiculous. This is nothing. The blokes average like 2.6, whatever. Yeah. It stinks.
And that's where I was pretty big on the money making side of things early. So I was having a bit of a look through the rankings. I think I'm sitting in the top 100 for team value. So I'm pretty happy with that. So it should give me some wiggle room on people that are sitting in front of me to consistently make ground. I think we'll see what happens. So Derry didn't have the best week this week. He dropped down to 300 and something. He only scored 323. So he had a few players that let him down. He copped a couple of donuts on his bench, which we'll get to in the bricks. Who was your hustle hero?
I put down 2. I put a blank, and she isn't really a person. I was like, was I really happy with any of them? I was like, Parker Jackson, Cartwright, he could be my hustle hero, but everyone had him. Yeah. I thought, fantastic. He's pumped down to 73, and then you look at number of percent of coaches that had him as his captain, and it's like 96%. So he's not really a hustle hero. He's just what everyone expected. Yeah. But it's probably Miller. If he didn't get injured, he was on track for a big day. Yeah. So it's got to be from our team. I had a lot of stinkers. So, it was Miller for me. He was probably the score that I was really impressed with.
Yeah. For me, Jesus, dropping the webcam.
You're having a mare.
Yeah, I am. I've tried to pull my charger out of my laptop and put it into my phone, and I've just knocked the webcam off. Cords bloody going everywhere. For me, I was kind of the same. I didn't really want to give it to PJC. Same deal. I was glad I went him though. Otherwise, I would have lost a hell of a lot of ground. So for me, I went with Chris Golding because he was bloody good to watch in that second game, and he got me out of the absolute shitter, I reckon. Just for the fact of his value. So he was someone that I was looking to get off. this week or next week, given that I've also got Galloway and Huck Porty. So I've got to play around a little bit with that. I think I'm set already with my trade, but obviously got to do a little bit of work just to make sure. But given the fact that after that first game, he was looking like he probably could have lost 20K, I was really happy for him to only drop, I think he dropped 4K in the end. So that was a good result for me.
Do you know he was, we mentioned him a few weeks ago saying he was, he's only going to get his points from scoring. He doesn't really stuff the stat sheet anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we borderline had him as a brick boy. So it's been been real good to see that he's actually contributed in some other categories and he's maintained his value.
Yeah, he went up a little bit for me. I said it last week, I'll say it again. I went him over the Shaili. I didn't want to get stuck in that guard logjam. So he's, again, provided me with a bit of flexibility around what I can do moving forward, which is nice. Dairy's hustle hero was PJC. Given that, how many he nut out? 72, did you say?
Yeah.
So he got 144 of Dairy's 323. So definitely a worthwhile hero. For the Brick Boys, he, as said, he had a couple of donuts. He had Galloway and Benchall. So they probably cost him his rank, he reckons. I had Huck Porty with a 29. I was hoping he was going to go up a little bit more in value for me.
He was a tough one because of the JLA factor. He was trending up in the right direction, doing all the right stuff. It's just a shame that JLA came back.
Yeah.
For his
It's
value.
been as good as he has been. So looking at trades, what are you thinking? Early days, I know.
I'm going out. Galloway, he had to go.
Which one?
I just couldn't get rid of him last week.
Galloway?
Yeah, Galloway.
Yeah.
Hook Porty, he had to go. And I still don't know about this. I'm going to toss and turn, but I've gone Saar. I don't know. This is a tough one. Perth are shambles.
Yeah.
They've got to change something. And is that change Saar playing more minutes? I think that's probably the big question on that one.
I think they've looked at his best when he has played.
Yeah. So he's got a break even of 44, which is huge.
Yeah.
So he's probably not, he's a 78% chance of getting that, but it all depends what they do. If they start playing him, he'll get it. If they do what they did this week, he won't get it and he'll lose value. So
he'll drop 20K.
I traded him. Yeah. So I traded him to get, so they were my 3 out.
So Huck Porty, Galloway, and Saar.
Yeah, and I bought in Big Sauce.
Yep.
I bought in Lockie Ulbrich and I bought in Josh Bannon. So I was late on the Lockie Ulbrich one, but I just wanted him to sit there and just make a bit of cash. There's nothing really else that's any value for the centres at that price. So hence he come in.
Yep. How many boosts will that get you to? How many will you have used?
If that'll 3. They'll finish me off with 3.
Yeah, right.
So I'll just sit on the next funds for a bit. Well, I don't need to trade. I hope. Oh well.
You say
hopefully
that
some blokes don't get injured.
Yeah, they throw it at you, don't they?
That's keeping Miller, which is an interesting one.
Yep, he'll be out. So you have to have a bit of play around with that, I reckon. I've gone a similar sort of route to you. I've gone Huck Porty and Galloway out. And I'm going Bannon and Pinder in.
The
reason I'm going Pinder is because I'm falling $3,100 short of Sauce. And that's all because Bannon got an extra rebound in the second game, which got him to a double-double. So that got him an extra 6 points, which I would have had a couple of K left in the bank if he hadn't done that. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch the game. And if I can get him drop down that money so I can get Sauce, I'll do that. But I'm not overly upset with Pinder because of the schedule. they've got an extra game than Southeast Melbourne in the next 3 weeks. And then both of them in round 9 and 10 have got singles. Round 10 being that one where only 2 teams play the double. And then I could probably get off him then. So I can sit him there for 5 weeks. And then as the rest of my team build money around that, I should have a few more options around what I can do there. And he's also got that flexibility of being a forward centre.
Very handy.
Dairy's not sure on his trades yet. He's had a big day today, so we'll let him off this time. And we'll move on to a couple of questionos. Just let me load the Twitter app.
I had a big call for us while you're doing that, and
Yep.
I think I finally got the big call right. Get Saucy and let it ride. It's my big call. Yeah. Let him ride the scooters.
Yeah.
Get him big Saucy and ride the scooters. Is that right? That's me big call.
All right. This is a pretty lengthy question. Thoughts on trading in more Cairns players for a long-term play as opposed to Perth and Southeast Melbourne players for a short-term play? Is there enough time to point grab with double game week players for this round versus making sure you can have a bucket load of Cairns players? So essentially, are you better off to load up on Cairns players for the points for those rounds where you're struggling to get a full court on, or are you better to get the points in the short term?
Well, I kind of thought about this, that in a game, you can crunch the numbers on this, but just like you could say that there's not going to be that many super coach points scored. Just saying the Cairns game, you're going to have a few 30s, you might have a 10 or 15 or whatever. But yeah, if you load up on all of them, you're going to have some good games and bad games, and I just don't think you're really going to get too much reward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep. So this is probably an interesting one. This one was posted by the Arson Dragon on Twitter.
Like it.
He's done some excellent work on the spreadsheets, which I'm a big fan of, as you know. Cairns averaged the least amount of points out of any team. So do you want to fall in love with those guys? I think you can probably... What would you say the number is? I'm thinking 3 to 4. You probably don't want any more than that.
I think 4 is way too many. I was thinking two to 3 max.
Yeah. I've got Wardenberg, I've got Clintman, and I'll probably get Armstrong next week for his price rise.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that does, yeah.
Yep.
I'll have Clintman, Armstrong, and Miller if he plays.
Yep. So for me, I think find your balance around that. On my personal thing there. Huck Porty done?
Yes.
Yep. Get off him.
Got his value.
Is Bannon a must?
Yes, 113k, cheapest chips. And if he keeps playing, he's pretty much the only guy in that price range that's probably got a bit of potential.
Yeah,
you look at the others around him. Nah, there's nothing. There's Reece Verhaeghe.
He can get stuffed.
120k.
Yeah, I was having a good look at it around how I could get to Sauce instead of Pinder. And the only one I was happy to drop down to was Armstrong, but I'm happy to wait a week on him. I think I'd prefer Bannon and Pinder over Armstrong and Sauce for this week, and then I can get Armstrong next week. Do you get bonus points for a triple-double with turnovers? I reckon you get -5.
Well, I think I had a little sneaky bet on the weekend. I had Julius Randle for a triple-double, and he was trending that way to get turnovers. And if he got a triple-double, I would have won $1,600. So
Oh, would you actually?
I think you should. Yeah, so I think you should. I think you should get it for triple doubles, but no, it doesn't.
Yeah. And this one's actually a pretty good one as well. Who's going to be the main player in place for Cheatham? Are we thinking Delaney or are we thinking Lamb get most of those touches?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because
Mm.
they didn't play. Like their centre, whose name I can't remotely pronounce. You know how
Mango.
good I am with names.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. It's
So
not your
Big
strong
Mango,
point.
they barely played him even in that second game.
I
With
thought he was
the
pretty good in the second
with
game.
yeah, but I didn't think he played very much.
Mm.
I thought they went to that small ball thing pretty quickly. So yeah, I reckon that Finn Delaney could soak him up. Lamb was an interesting one. He had a good first game, but didn't do much in the second. So, but he's
Yeah.
definitely got pretty high potential, I reckon.
Yep. So if we look at the minutes and Supercoach points for that one, so Mango played 22 minutes and had 25 Supercoach. Lamb played 21 minutes and had 5 Supercoach, and Delaney played 29 minutes and had 28 Supercoach. So you'd probably say Delaney's the front runner by that, and you'd take Lamb ahead of
Yeah,
Matthew Yang.
yeah, yeah. So when
Happy with
I
that?
watched the first, yeah, I obviously watched a little bit of that first game. Listened to the commentary where he had the 0 points, 1 board,
Mm.
2 Supercoach. So that was obviously with Cheatham. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Now I'm going to talk about captains before we rock and roll. So I've developed a captain formula for my picking of captains. So at number 3 on my projection for this week is Mitch Creek. So they have. I had to restart my laptop before, didn't I? Who are they playing next week, Buzz? They
Uh,
got Brisbane, and then they've got Cairns, who have both given up a bucket load of scores to forwards, and he's been pretty good against both those teams in the past, so all those things add up. For me, the next one, we've said that this man's game translates regardless of if he's scoring or not, and he can't continue to miss shots at the rate he's missing them. Bryce Cotton, so he's me pick 2. So Perth have got the Saturday game against Adelaide at home, and then they play on Monday in Melbourne. So the Melbourne game's obviously going to be a tough one, but Adelaide get up and down. So they do now anyway. So he's my number 2. And then the number 1, there's not a hell of a lot of data on this guy, but I think the eye test plus the scores that are going up for him, PJC, he's at number 1. So Creek 3, Cotton 2, PJC 1.
there you go. No big sauce.
No, he didn't make the cut. As good as he has been, his competition has not been great, in my view. So they played New Zealand, so he's going head to head with Mango and then small ball. So that was this week. Last week they played Brisbane, so he went against Tyrell Harrison, who fouls out a lot and then absolutely beat up on Rocco. And then the Thursday game they played Adelaide, and they're one of the easiest teams for centres to score against. So as good as he's been, I think when he goes up against some of those better teams, he could potentially struggle. They do have Brisbane again this week, but Aaron Baines is back, and Aaron Baines is not letting what Rocco let happen. And then Cairns, he could go mental against Cairns, but Cairns are a little bit more innovative with their defense. You saw what New Zealand were at. They were able to play him off the floor there for a little bit while they were playing the zone, which I see Cairns doing a little bit of as well. So yeah, they're my 3. Craig Cotton, PJC.
Nice. I like it.
Very good. So for me, PJC. Rightio, mate. We'll leave it there. Good luck to everyone for the week. We got Thursday through Monday next week's pretty exciting. So we look forward to a big week. Some big scores coming this week, I reckon.
Oh, I hope so. I hope they come from the Clint Stein daddies.
All the best, mate.
Cheers, mate. Take it easy.
Bye for now.
Bye.